had some ideas for this bubblegum machine. So I'm going to start on one of them right now, and this one is going to be a shaker card. And what I'm going to do first is cut out the main shape of my bubblegum machine. I've added the texture for the front. I have added one of the inserts for the face part. There's actually 3 dies. One cuts out the general shape, meaning you could have a solid background, and then we've got a window, and then we've got another window that is a little further in. I'm going to save this one to cut out my plastic, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out this as my my generic shape. This is going to cut out my window. Okay, I'm going to line that up on some red cardstock and go ahead and get this and some other things cut out. So I think I have pretty much everything cut out, and yes, I did cut it all out in red. This is going to be a red gumball machine, and I'm going to play with something that I've had in my stash for a long time and I never play with: distress crayons. What my thought is there are a lot of places where there's some embossing on the gumball machine, and I'm going to attempt to distress it and make it look a little bit old using the distress crayons, and it should show where the different pieces are. Now another thing that I did is I've cut out a second window similar to this that's going to go on the outside of my plastic. So I did cut out a plastic window to be for my shaker, so it's going to go on the outside, and I just need to trim off basically all the excess and just leave the frame. Okay, so now I can start putting together some of the bits. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the top of my machine, because these are some pieces that I do need to do that distressing on. I think that is going to be kind of cool. So I'll go ahead and get started and do the rest, distress the rest of my little gumball machine. I'm only using 3 colors of distress crayon for this. I'm using brush pewter, frosted juniper, and pumice stone. And it really just depends on how dark I want the color to be or how light as to which color I'm adding to different places. To be quite honest, I don't think it really mattered on this one. And I've told you guys on several occasions that the best time to try out techniques that you really haven't gotten the handle on yet is Halloween, because you know what? If it's messed up, that's totally fine, because you can just say it was supposed to look that way. So I have kind of grunged up pretty much all of the red surfaces on this entire gumball machine, and now I'm assembling the pieces together. As I finish a piece, I'm going ahead and gluing it all together to what it's supposed to go with, so that I can put it on the main one. And I keep on going back in and adding a little bit more color. It's kind of the same thing as when you're doing your alcohol marker coloring. Just color it until you are done, until you like the way that it looks. And I'm going to be honest, I really like the way all of the distressing looks on this little gumball machine. I am loving how this is turning out. Now I just need to add some foam to the back and start putting that shaker on my card. That is going to be so cute. Because this is such good foam tape, and I'm going to have to get me some more, I'm going to use some Heffy Doodle, their thick foam tape for this, because it does great. It's basically pretty thick. This is a full 3 millimeters thick. I'm going to take the foam off of both sides so I can twist it around this frame, and that is going to make a perfect little well for my shaker bits. I also need to make sure that I have enough of this thickness of foam tape covering the rest of my piece here so that it doesn't have any kind of sagging anywhere. Okay, so now I just need to find my shaker bits. Okay, so sometimes my memory isn't quite as good as I thought it was. So I have got little confetti bits from last year or the year before, and there are these little tiny bats. But even this small, they may be a little bit large for this area, but you know what? I'm going to go with it. And now that I think about it, I think I want to remove these bits here. It does mean that the bats will be kind of going down behind the gumballs, but I think that's actually going to be kind of good, seeing as these are so big, and that also means I can put more in, and I think this is going to be pretty cute. It means they'll be basically hiding until you shake it. So that, I think, is going to work out good. Okay, get off of there. Now I can put in some more of the bats. While I'm at it, I'm going to add a couple of little orange pumpkins, just to add a little bit of color. And that's it. The pumpkins are probably never going to be seen, but that's okay. So I'm going to use this background that I made during a recent live stream using the new Distress mica stains from Tim Holtz. I also used a Simon Hurley ghost stencil, and I'll leave links to everything down below for you guys. And this bubblegum machine is actually around 6 inches tall, so that means it makes for kind of a long card. So what I'm going to be doing is making it into a mini slimline vertical. That's why I'm using this one is 6-inch panel. So let me go ahead and put this right at, line it up on my grid mat, and then I can hopefully get this on there pretty much straight and cover the whole thing. So this is where I'm kind of guesstimating, so hopefully it'll be on there not only straight. Okay, moment of truth. Oh, that works out perfect. So when it's sitting like this, the bats are hidden, but then when you shake it, the bats show up at the top. That is perfect. And this may be good for a 5x7 card. So what I'm going to use for the backing is a piece of dark brown cardstock, which I think is going to look really good behind that ghosty background there. I think that's going to look kind of cool. And this is the 5x7 card bases that I have are a little bit of an off-white, and I think that kind of pulls it all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim this panel down to be just under the 5x7. So that means it needs to be, let me just double check. Yes, it is. This is actually slightly larger than 5x7. So I'm going to cut this piece to right at 5. And then I'm going to use a pencil to show me about where the edge is here, and then I'll trim off about a 1/4 inch. Because my mini paper trimmer does not cut down to that exact amount. Actually, I can line it up on the grid here and know where 1/4 inch is, so I'll know where to cut. Okay. I knew there was a way to do it, I just hadn't been trying. Okay, cut it there. And then let's just double check one more time. I think that will look good. I'm going to go ahead and mount that onto my card base, and then I can put my bubblegum machine on top. And now I can mount my card panel onto that card base. I love how this one turned out. It's all nice and grungy. And I don't really do the grunge that much. That means I need to take out my distress crayons a bit more often, I think. This, I think, turned out super, super cute. And we've got all the little bats and stuff up in the top of my gumball machine. That is so cute. Well, you guys, be sure to check out this playlist to see some more projects where I'm using Spellbinders products. And y'all have a wonderful day. Remember, if I can make it, you can too. Talk to you soon.